VCU is going to have to box them out tonight.
Take a look at the starting lineups tonight. JeQuan Lewis at guard for VCU. Burgess, Johnson, Gilmore, and Alie-Cox from Alexandria, Virginia. Shavar Newkirk along with Aaron Brown in the backcourt with Pierre Francesco Oliva, known as Checo. Will Wade in his first season on the bench at VCU. Takes over for Shaka Smart, who went to the Texas Longhorns, and Phil Martelli has been here 21 seasons, 386 wins.
Has become kind of a rivalry in the Atlantic 10. These teams matched up 2 years ago in the Atlantic 10 championship game at the Barclays Center. Last year when the two teams played at the Siegel Center, VCU had its way when St. Joseph's turned the ball over 20 times.
Rams with the basketball, and with it, Melvin Johnson. Takeaway right away by Shavar Newkirk, and St. Joseph's with the basketball. Aaron Brown up top, Miles. And as the Hawks trying to get their offense going, just underway from the Hagan Arena. This ball ends up in the hands of Michael Gilmore, the sophomore from Jacksonville, Florida, the nephew of former NBA star Artis Gilmore.
Tim, both of these teams like to play at a faster pace. St. Joseph's averaging about 75 points a game, and so are the VCU Rams. Newkirk
to Oliva, the freshman. Back outside, here's DeAndre Bembry for three. So the top scorer, he's had double figures in all 13 games this year for the Hawks. And he gets the scoring going tonight.
Well, what Phil Martelli likes about his team right now is very balanced scoring. In their game against Richmond, they had 5 players in double figures.
Aaron Brown had the rebound for St. Joseph. Newkirk, pull-up pop. Got it. 5-0 Hawks.
Talk about improvement. Shavar Newkirk is another one of those guys that's made a huge difference from his freshman year to sophomore season. His shooting has improved tremendously.
Lewis used the screen from Gilmore that time, but the shot off the mark, and here's Bembry with it. Now Brown. It's a screen from Miles. Bembry, the low block, kicks it back outside. Bembry with it, shot clock moving down to 13. And now Brown tries a three, and he hits. The 2 threes and a 2 for Joseph's, and it's 8-0.
Well, VCU wants to set up their defense, which is full court pressure, but you have to score first. And so far, there's been a drought on the offensive end for the Rams.
In and out for Johnson. Miles to DeAndre Bembry, the junior from Charlotte, North Carolina. We expect to see a lot out of Bembry in this basketball game tonight.
You know, it's interesting when you look at DeAndre Bembry, he'll kind of pace himself a little bit. He doesn't necessarily need to score to be effective in this game. He passes, rebounds, and defends so well.
Bembry one-on-one against Burgess. Ends up kicking it outside again. And the shot taken and missed by Shavar Newkirk. VCU trying to get on the board. St. Joseph's out to an 8-0 run to start this game. Gilmore had the pass deflected. Alie-Cox outside, and Lewis gets the three. JeQuan Lewis. And that gets VCU on the scoreboard.
Well, I think under Will Wade, VCU is trying to go inside out a little bit more, throw the ball into the low post, kick it back out, and try to get an open shot.
These two teams have played each other 7 times before. Miles the miss. Here's Bembry coming up with a basketball. Brown, foot on the line. That's good for 2. 10-3, 7-point lead. 3.5 minutes gone by.
Terrific passing. Bembry doing a great job of finding the open guys on the perimeter.
Gilmore will try a 3. And there's DeAndre Bembry. An easy rebound. He'll launch. In and out. He started the game with a 3 a few minutes ago. Now 1 for 2 from behind the arc. JeQuan Lewis driving. Dumps it off to Gilmore for 2. And the Rams now with 5.
Well, I think VCU could take more advantage of that, get in the lane, and force help defense. That was great penetration by Lewis.
Newkirk guarded by Lewis. Now they switch off on him. Open in the corner. Oliva. And he knocks down a three. Checo Oliva, the freshman out of Italy, went to Bergen Catholic High School in New Jersey. And seen some very valuable playing time and contributing early.
Well, the Hawks are not necessarily known as a terrific perimeter shooting team, but they had a good game against Richmond. They made 11 threes in 21 attempts. They're shooting the ball exceptionally well from the perimeter tonight.
A whistle and a foul will be called on Oliva as he and Isaiah Miles were in the middle of it. But it's been the long distance dialing early for St. Joseph's. 3 3-pointers and a 13-5 lead over VCU in our first time out. Different Hawks have scored in the game so far for Phil Martelli's crew.
And Phil Martelli has to be happy right now because his team has not turned the ball over. We talked in the open about how important it is for VCU to get points off of their defense, and so far the Hawks have not obliged. They've made a lot of shots. They have not turned the ball over.
VCU, meantime, has turned it over 3 times as Jordan Burgess knocks down the free throw. Burgess out of Benedictine High School in Midlothian, Virginia, redshirt junior. Knocks down both free throws. It's a 13-7 game. And checking in Justin Tillman, 6'7" sophomore. We'll give Burgess a break. So Tillman in. Oliva getting some help from Newkirk. Newkirk doubled. Some of that defensive pressure that VCU hopes to set up. There's a swat. Big block by Mo Alie-Cox.
Oliva had the basketball in the center of the court. That's a perfect place to execute against this defense if you can handle the pressure. A couple years ago, St. Joe's had Hillel Kanasevic. He did a terrific job. Phil Martelli called him a point forward, and that's the role right now that Oliva is expected to play.
Johnson sit over to Brooks, and Brooks in the paint dumps it off, and Tillman right off the bench scores 2.
Nice penetration. I think VCU has had some success getting in the lane. VCU is a big team. St. Joseph's is as well, and you can see right now Oliva having a little bit of difficulty as he's kind of forced off balance.
Off-balance shot is made by JeQuan Lewis, and he'll go to the line for a possible 3-point play.
Here's a good look at Newkirk going to the basket. When VCU plays that half-court pressure defense, they really take you out of your offense. You have to create plays. Newkirk does a great job, and we talked about Miles' improvement. I have to put Newkirk's improvement right in the same category. He's been playing great basketball without turning it over. In the game against Richmond, he had 4 assists, 1 turnover in 27 minutes.
16-9, 7-point lead for the Hawks. Johnson lays up the runner, and that's good.
Kind of known more as a 3-point shooter, but he's a scorer. He's averaging almost 19 points a game.
Miles, the baseline jumper counts for 2. Isaiah Miles, coaches call him Isaiah, everybody else calls him Zeke.
Zeke as in Jerry West, maybe.
From Cabin Creek.
Now, the thing about defending St. Joseph's, and they're a bad pass by Oliva, good anticipation by VCU.
Big block there by Miles. Melvin Johnson trying to drive and that ball out of bounds.
So hard to defend St. Joseph's right now because everybody on the floor is capable of scoring. They have a very balanced attack. So in the last possession, Miles was left open.
Well, Aaron Brown gets the foul for St. Joseph's. Johnson going to the line. Melvin Johnson, 22 points against George Mason. And he has had 7 20-point games this season. 7 games of 20 or more, double figures in 13 games.
And what you won't see in that lineup of statistics is his leadership. I mean, the team is really built around Melvin Johnson.
Bender, a bounce pass, and Miles with a finish. like the way Bembry looked up and then put the ball on the floor.
He's just so multi-talented. I think people forget about the fact that he's such an excellent rebounder and passer. He doesn't necessarily have to score to help his team win.
Reaching in was Newkirk, and he poked it away. That'll go back to VCU, but a solid defensive play by the sophomore guard from the Bronx.
You know, this is an interesting matchup of coaches as well. When you mentioned Phil Martelli, the dean of coaches in the Atlantic 10, and good hustle there on the part of Newkirk trying to save the basketball from going out of bounds. And Will Wade in his first year, experienced coach, having 2 years of head coaching under his belt, but first time here as the head coach in Hagen Arena against St. Joe's.
Brooks throws one up at the buzzer, and apparently the bank was still open this late. Just a forced up shot to try to beat the shot clock, and it went in. And now Bembry the other way. And the rebound picked up by James Demery. And a whistle and a foul on VCU. And the foul will be on Doug Brooks. That's his second personal. Each team with a couple of team fouls, so nobody even close to the bonus at this point. 12:36 to go in the first half. A 4-point game. Remember, St. Joseph's got out to an 8-0 run, and VCU has slowly been hanging around, but been able to put more balls in the basket.
Well, the good thing about VCU is they play a lot of guys, so Will Wade will go 10 deep, and the players in the game are expected to put it out on the floor, and they play with a tremendous amount of energy. St. Joseph's brings Papa now into the game, number 12. He's really struggled health-wise. Did not play last year, dislocated his finger earlier in the season, but has given this team a huge lift coming off the bench.
A grad student going after his master's in health administration. VCU on the steal. Pass ahead to Hamdi. And Hamdi will not be able to put that in. But it is put back by Corey Bilberry. Both coaches going with a deep rotation early in the game.
Yeah, I think Phil Martelli as well is certainly able to get 9 guys in the game in the first half.
Just a 2-point game now. Lamar Kimball to Bembry. Long three, no good. And some contact there, Hamdi and Miles. And the ball out of bounds, and that's going to take us to a timeout. Isaiah Miles has come up with a couple of big buckets. It's just a 2-point game here in the first half.
Baskets and their offensive rebounding, but that fast break basket certainly was keyed off of good full court pressure defense.
Corey Bilberry, a senior from Tulsa, Oklahoma. And he is a grad student in his 5th year. He's played in 111 college basketball games.
He's been a great pickup for Will Wade. This is a guy that scored over 1,000 points at Oral Roberts University, and here he brings a tremendous amount of experience to this club.
They pass along the baseline, now back up top to Johnson. Burgess. Can't get it to go on the rebound by Papa now. Bembry, the hook pass. Miles taking it to the basket. He will go to the free throw line instead after the VCU foul. And the foul will be on Corey Bilberry.
Here's another good example of what Bembry brings to the game. He realizes he's forcing help defense. Miles is open in the corner. He sees the court so well. This is one of the reasons why I think St. Joseph's is so improved, because Bembry has a second scorer. Isaiah Miles has really become a reliable and consistent double-digit scorer. Last season, Tim, it was just one guy. Almost all the scoring fell on DeAndre Bembry's shoulders.
And Lewis took an extra step. He turns it over. JeQuan Lewis gives the ball back. 3 turnovers now for VCU. Bembry fumbling the ball. Looked like it might have been tipped, but it goes out of bounds off of St. Joseph's, and VCU will have possession with 11:03 to go. And that is the third turnover for the Hawks. Now the turnovers even at 3 apiece. Well, we talked about it before, John, but last year in this game, again, really two different teams. But VCU forced St. Joseph's into 20 turnovers.
Yeah, I think, the swagger's a little bit different when VCU is playing at home. On the road, it's a little bit harder. The Siegel Center, you get all those fans, tremendous fan base that gets into the game, and it helps to create that havoc, as it's known in the business. Certainly, folks in Richmond call it the havoc.
And Lewis trying to get to the basket. Foul is whistled on St. Joseph's. And DeAndre Bembry will pick up the personal foul.
But Will Wade was an assistant for Shaka Smart for 2 seasons, and when he came back to VCU, he said, we're not going to change the things that have been working so well. We're going to continue to play this style of basketball.
Heading to the bench, Melvin Johnson. Bilberry with a basketball top of the key, trying to dish it off to Alie-Cox, who came in. Now Lewis off the mark and inside position by Papanao, earned him the rebound. Just about halfway through the first half. Jonathan Williams into the guard. He is guarding Lamar Kimball. Fresh Kimball dishes off to the corner. Shot taken and missed by Demery.
Well, VCU is certainly in the game. They're not shooting the ball well from 3, and you got to give a little credit to St. Joseph's.
St. Joseph's with the rebound again. Here's Demery in 1-on-2. Ball is stripped and knocked out of bounds. It went off of Demery in the 4th turnover for the Hawks.
Well, Demery's been playing good basketball as well. We talked a little bit about Shavar Newkirk and certainly a lot about Isaiah Miles, but I've noticed the improvement of James Demery over the last season. He's been playing more consistent basketball, and he's another reason why the Hawks have improved.
Open is Burgess. Alie-Cox on the rebound. Kicks it back outside. Bilberry. Long on that one, and Miles with the rebound.
Well, 2 good looks there for the Rams. Burgess wide open, but VCU not able to convert some wide open shots on the perimeter.
There's a foul before the shot. Neither team, John, has had a field goal over the last 3 minutes of action.
Yeah, in spite of the fact VCU is not making shots, St. Joseph's is certainly helping keep the game close. VCU right now is 2 for 9 from the 3, 6 for 16 overall.
And that basket good by Bembry. Bembry ends the field goal drought. And it's a 24-18 game, 6 points the lead for the Hawks of St. Joseph's. Alie-Cox inside, he scores.
What a tough basket and a terrific pass by JeQuan Lewis. Love to see Mo Alie-Cox get the basketball a little bit more and try to overpower people in the low post.
Jonathan Williams commits the personal foul. He had a hand all over Kimball. So the 5th team foul on VCU. It was Isaiah Miles. He'll have a rest. Papanao over to the right side to Demery. Andre Bembry up top to now. He thought about the 3 for a second, but took the extra step.
Well, that's a good matchup there. Jordan Burgess is a very good on-the-ball defender. He's a big guy. I think he matches up with DeAndre Bembry pretty well. Mo Alie-Cox got kind of caught up. 2 guys ended up guarding Bembry, but VCU got a break there with Papanao getting called for the wall.
5th turnover for St. Joseph's. 4-point game. 8 different VCU players have scored. Johnson misses, and now the rebound ahead to Bembry. Nice pass to Demery for the bucket. Boy, DeAndre Bembry threaded the needle with that long bounce pass.
You know what? He's so skillful, but at the same time, he understands the game so well. He sees the floor.
Well, you might see players who will try to go over the defense there, but he went under it with a bounce pass and turned out to be a terrific pass. Wow, nice play there by Corey Bilber. 4 points for him.
Not an easy move at all. He went along the baseline, somehow found his way in front of the rim, but it gives you a sense of how strong he is and what a good scorer.
Aaron Brown with 10 seconds on the shot clock. Bembry's got it. Shot clock down to 5, and Bembry launches a forced shot. Rebound, Melvin Johnson. Johnson gets a step on now kicks it out to a wide open teammate. Bilbrey, who wasn't ready for it, went out of bounds. That's a turnover for VCU. They're fourth. Timeout on the floor. Great pass by Bembry to Demry for 2 points. Hawk Hill on a January.
Close to the basket, but that's a good sign for VCU. They're really struggling from the three. They're only 2 for 12 from beyond the arc. They can get the ball in the paint, they're going to be much more successful.
They take a look at the field goal percentage leaders in program history. Alie-Cox right there behind Bernard Hopkins, who 94 to 96 shot better than 57%. That's some pretty lofty company there.
Well, you know what, and I like some of the other things about Alie-Cox. He's already graduated from school. He had to sit out his freshman season for academics, but he was given the opportunity, took full advantage of it, and now he's working on his master's degree.
St. Joseph's with the basketball. Deontay Bembry. Papa now. Oh, good look inside. And the ball might have been touched around the cylinder, but Aaron Brown unable to get that one to go. This three ball is out. And Bilbrey with a stick back can't get it to go, and now knocks it out of bounds. Looked like it touched the VCU player on the way out. So the Hawks will have possession.
A good look there for Melvin Johnson. He pretty much wide open, not able to make a shot that, you know, he's built his career around making threes. But VCU still in the game. This gives them a chance. Set up that full court pressure.
And that pressure affected Shavar Newkirk there, forced him to take an extra step, and turns the ball back over to the Rams.
Well, a bit uncharacteristic turnover for Newkirk. He's done such a good job of protecting the basketball. Phil Martelli has a lot of confidence in Newkirk now. The game against Villanova, very few turnovers, and I think hardly at all. And then their last game against Richmond, 4 assists, 1 turnover in 27 minutes.
Johnson backs out now to Burgess. Now VCU had an easy time with George Mason, 71-47 on Saturday. There is a 3-ball down by JeQuan Lewis. And now a 1-point lead for the Hawks.
Well, that's a good sign for VCU.
Blocked by Alie-Cox. Boy, Demry looked like he had a free lane to the basket. But Alie-Cox right there to knock it away. Mo says no, they say at VCU. And here he is again with a finish. And that gives the Rams their first lead of the basketball game.
You know, it's so surprising in a sense here, Tim, because I talked about VCU shooting the ball so poorly.
VCU creating havoc right now for St. Joseph's. Lewis back outside, and Burgess took it into the paint. A blocking foul will be whistled on Isaiah Miles. That'll be the first foul on Miles.
You know, when I look at VCU physically, they match up very well with St. Joseph's. In fact, they're about the same size, but a little bit stronger. And I think it's surprising the Hawks here a little bit. When they go to the basket, they think they have an open lane, but VCU does a terrific job recovering. We've seen a bunch of good blocks around the basket.
Well, tomorrow on ASN, 7 o'clock Eastern, check your local listings. You'll see the Patriots of George Mason and the Bonnies of St. Bonaventure. More Atlantic 10 basketball action tomorrow, live right here on ASN. 1-point game, 5 minutes and change to go, first half.
Burgess just missed 2. He's a 62% foul shooter.
Brown gets around Burgess and the pass inside, but a foul committed Like Bilberry was in the middle of it for the Rams.
If VCU were shooting anywhere near their season averages from the three and from the field, they'd have a comfortable lead right now.
Bilberry with 2 fouls will hit the bench. And coming back in, Jonathan Williams. Miles. Demery. Demery had it knocked away. Looked like Alie-Cox got a hand on that to deflect it. There's a strip from behind. James Demery. Ahead to Brown. Shovels it to Bembry. Demery in traffic makes it go. That was a hard-earned basket for St. Joseph's.
Well, it started in some respects by maybe poor decision by JeQuan Lewis to take it 1-on-2. St. Joseph's had numbers in transition.
'28-27 Hawks. VCU leads this series 4 wins to 3, and there's a 3. Melvin Johnson knocks it down.
Well, that's a good sign because Melvin Johnson's 18 or 19 points a game is going to be needed in this game for VCU to come out of here with a win.
7 points now for Johnson. Here's Miles in and out. JeQuan Lewis will bring it down the floor for the Rams with help from Melvin Johnson. VCU and Duke are the only 2 programs with 26 or more wins each year over the last 6 years. Think about that. That is some serious success on the hardwood. Inside Burgess. He gets the roll. And now VCU with their largest lead at 4 at 32-28.
Well, a tough, strong move along the baseline by Jordan Burgess. Not an easy finish.
Bembry in the paint. A foul whistle on VCU. VCU on a 12-2 run. And Alie-Cox has certainly had something to do with it at both ends of the floor. Pick and roll. And it's a 4-point Ram lead.
But we expected a close game. These are 2 very good teams playing good basketball. The Hawks have some momentum. They've won 7 in a row. And VCU is coming in this game having won 4 in a row.
Now you see where St. Joe's has been. Just 1 field goal over the last 4:58. Almost 5 minutes without a field goal. And remember how they started with an 8-0 run. They were 3 of 5 from behind the arc to start the game, and since 0 for 6.
Yeah, they kind of made it look easy early in this game. They were getting a good quality shot. Bembry was making terrific passes, and the Hawks were finishing with made perimeter shots.
St. Joseph's in the bonus now for the rest of the half. Williams taking it to the rack and missing. Aaron Brown with a rebound ahead to Bembry. That's poked free, and Lewis ahead of the pack will lay it up off the glass and in. Lead still 4 for VCU.
Terrific play there by JeQuan Lewis to flick the ball away from Bembry. That's very hard to do. Rarely see that happen.
Brown met by Alie-Cox. Trying to get around him, but foul will be committed. Looks like Williams will be caught for the foul. That's his second. Jonathan Williams, sophomore from Richmond, Virginia, hometown kid.
You know, when I think of VCU's team last year, I always remember Brianti Weber and Weber for coming up with steals. One of the, I think if it didn't get injured, would be the all-time leader in the NCAA for steals. But certainly the tradition, the heritage continues here with VCU.
Will Wade going big here in the last couple of minutes as Tillman comes in to replace Williams. 6-7 for 6-1. Aaron Brown with 5 points, make it 6. 3-point lead for the visiting Rams. VCU hoping to make their 6th straight trip to the NCAA tournament. If they do, that'll be a VCU record number of consecutive trips. JeQuan Newkirk in the lane, a little floater. Back rimmed it. And JeQuan Lewis comes down with it for VCU. Under 2 minutes left of the first half of play. Lots of time on the shot clock right now, so VCU has time to set something up. Lewis will take a shot and hit it.
Lewis does a great job of using Alie-Cox's screen. Alie-Cox is a big guy, 250 pounds. When he sets a screen, it creates a lot of space, and Lewis is doing a great job of reading the defense.
10 points for Lewis. And again there, they'll break down the first half, have some news from around the A-10 and more. That's coming up at the half on the American Sports Network.
Phil Martelli places Bembry in the middle of the defense. Here he's going to catch the ball here in the middle against that full court pressure defense.
Here's Miles. He got it! He's fouled. And he'll have a chance to score more from the line. 8 points for Isaiah Miles now. And a 3-point game, a chance to cut it to 2.
If you're going to beat this defense, get the ball to Bembry in the middle of the floor. Good rotation there to find Miles open in the corner. Miles wants to shoot the basketball. Good call by the officials. Clearly, he was hit as he released the basketball.
Foul ball, Alie-Cox. See the numbers from last year to this year. Almost 7 full points a game in terms of scoring. And that's one of the reasons why folks feel he is such an improved player on this conference.
Well, and he gives a lot of credit to one of the assistant coaches for the Hawks, Dave Duda. And one of the things the coaches talked to him about is losing weight. He lost 20 pounds from last season. He stopped going to the fast food restaurant across the street and gave up a bunch of cheeseburgers.
The ones he had bacon on them, too. A lot of bacon. He gave that up. Lewis knocks it down, and Lewis now with 12 points for the VCU Rams as we're under a minute to go in the half.
And what a screen there by Jordan Burgess.
Heavy pressure by VCU. Papa now gets it across the half-court stripe. A lot of pressure. This is what VCU does. 3-ball in and out. And Miles fouled. Burgess got him. But Jordan Burgess committing the personal foul, and that'll give St. Joseph's a chance to shoot with the clock stopped.
Tim, VCU's defense forces you out of your offense. You could see St. Joe's a little bit hesitant, not sure who they really want to handle the basketball. So they're looking for Bembry all the time. Bembry's really reliable. He's calm, and he'll find an open man. But, you know, when you're scrambling on defense now, you can't forget about Isaiah Miles. He's such a good offensive rebounder. Seen a couple times now where he's been able to get a rebound and no one's boxing him out. I know Will Wade's very kind of disappointed, if you will, a little bit upset with his team for not knowing where Miles is.
1 for 2 from the line that time, so it's a 3-point lead for VCU. On a 9-second differential, shot clock to game clock. Burgess back up top to Johnson, and VCU will run a little bit of clock. Alie-Cox setting a big pick. Now Lewis for 3. Loose ball ends up in the hands of Tillman. Alie-Cox trying for the rebound. That goes out of bounds off of VCU, so the shot clock dead. And 11 and 9/10 seconds remain for St. Joseph's to handle the last possession of the first half.
Well, it looks like St. Joseph's is going to put the ball in the hands of Bembry and create some space, get away, so there's no help defense necessarily. Let Bembry try to take his man.
That's going to do it for the first half of play. 38-35, a 3-point lead for Mo Alie-Cox and the VCU Rams visiting Phil Martelli's St. Joseph's Hawks here at Hagan Arena. 0 for their last 8 in 3-point attempts for St. Joseph's. But things have been happening at the defensive end, but falling on the offensive end as well. 1 half in the books from Philadelphia. We send you back to West Palm Beach now. Monica McNutt and Doug Chapman are standing by with our halftime activity.
Stepped up in that last 10-minute sequence where he started to score some points. He rebounded the basketball. You can see he's 3 for 5 from the field. but he leads the Hawks in scoring, and he's second in rebounding with 5. So he made his presence known here in the first half. I thought Bembry did a great job of finding him, getting him the basketball, but it was VCU's defense and their ability to penetrate the lane on offense that I think has given them this lead here at halftime.
Another thing, too, the inside game of VCU outscoring St. Joseph's 16-6 in the paint in the first half. 9th turnover for St. Joseph's. Now VCU have their first possession of the second frame.
Well, a little miscommunication there between Oliva and Bembry.
And a steal as Bembry takes over, and DeAndre Bembry a two-handed jam.
St. Joseph's doesn't get too many breakaways as a result of their defense, but nonetheless an easy basket there for the Hawks. A good defensive stance there by St. Joseph's early here in the second half.
9 points now for Bembry. Here's Gilmore, and a foul is whistled against St. Joseph's. And it will be on Isaiah Miles.
It's just good anticipation by Bembry. A quick turnover by St. Joseph's and a quick turnover by VCU. The VCU turnover, however, led to an easy basket for the Hawks.
Burgess launches for 3. And Oliva on the rebound. Hands off to Shavar Newkirk. Sophomore point guard getting a screen up top by Miles. And now he's got a free lane to the basket, and a foul committed by the Rams point guard, JeQuan Lewis.
Nice hesitation move here by Newkirk. He kind of reads the defense a little bit, changes direction, and was able to get in the lane. Good read on the part of Shavar Newkirk.
77% free throw shooter. Knocks down the first one. And that will tie the game at 38.
Newkirk was a guy that really struggled last year shooting the basketball. He played behind Chris Wilson. He got about 20 minutes a game, but he was only 28% from the field, 19% from 3. But he's vastly improved those numbers in his sophomore season.
From the line, St. Joseph's is 10 of 12. So pretty good job from the free throw line.
Yeah, and a big change from last season.
Burgess shot in and out. Out of bounds. That'll go back to the Hawks.
Phil Martelli told me that VCU, the players still have their swagger. They still believe that they're as good a team that the Atlantic 10 has had over the last 5 or 6 years. They come into an opposing team's gym and think that, you know, they belong. And certainly they played a good non-conference schedule. They're in no way intimidated by being here at the Hagan Arena.
That's a two-pointer. A two-pointer for Isaiah Miles. At 41-38, St. Joseph's back up by 3.
Tim, watch this defense. Alie-Cox gets caught up on the help defense, and he's not able to recover quickly enough to defend Isaiah Miles. VCU has to do a better job defending those screens.
Gilmore steps back. And Miles was battling with Alie-Cox and also with Bilber, and it goes out of bounds off of VCU.
Well, I suspect we're going to have a lot of lead changes here as we get into the latter part of the second half. Both teams are pretty evenly matched. Neither team is shooting the ball that well.
One thing for VCU, their bench has been very strong. They've scored 30 or more points 6 times this season. 39 against Wisconsin, and there is a big jumper for Isaiah Miles.
You know, I think VCU might have to change their matchup. Right now, Alie-Cox is trying to guard Miles, but he's helping out way too much, leaving Miles wide open on the perimeter.
St. Joseph's had missed the previous 8 three-pointers they took. Here's Bembry. Finger roll counts. And a roll for St. Joseph's. at the beginning of the second half, but they have now built an 8-point lead.
Well, the tables have turned here in the second half. A couple turnovers by VCU leading to transition baskets for the St. Joe's Hawks.
Momentum.
The Hawks have a lead now, Tim, here early in the second half. Into this game, and so are the fans here at Hagan Arena. Isaiah Miles has really stepped up here in the second half. And Alie-Cox and VCU is just going to have to do a better job of staying much closer to Isaiah Miles.
And DeAndre Bembry at the line after JeQuan Lewis committed the personal foul. Last year, Bembry the leading scorer in the Atlantic 10. First time St. Joseph's has had the scoring leader in the Atlantic 10 Conference. And they're celebrating the 60th anniversary of the mascot here tonight.
Yeah, great tradition. Bembry misses the foul shot. If there's any kind of Achilles heel here for DeAndre Bembry, it's been his foul shooting. He's under 70%. In the Richmond game, he missed 3 straight foul shots in the last couple minutes. But that's really the only flaw in this game right now.
Bilberry corners it to Gilmore. His shot clock is at 4. And a rebound to Miles, and it goes out of bounds. Miles lost it, so VCU will have control of it. And should have a fresh shot clock, too.
I'm not sure what Phil Martelli said to his team in the locker room at halftime, but they come out of the locker room and start this half gangbusters, outscoring VCU 11-0.
Well, we said we're going to come out and go on an 11-0 run to start this.
Well,
guys?
They executed perfectly. I'm a bit surprised because VCU played pretty good basketball for the second half of the first 20 minutes. But it's been all St. Joe's here to start the second half.
St. Joe's is 4 for 4 from the field so far in the second half. VCU 0 for 5. And there's Miles again with a well-earned layup. 15 points for Isaiah Miles. That way, Bembry into the VCU bench. Tried to save it. And the guys who did the saving over there were the guys on the bench.
Miles, right place at the right time. I'm not sure exactly that was a pass on the part of Oliva. But you look at Miles' numbers already, 17 points, a lot of basketball to play. I think he's kind of like the stealth offensive scorer. I think people forget about him. They're so focused on Bembry, they forget about Miles.
He is averaging 17.3, so he's right at his average. Gilmore high off the glass.
Good, strong move by the sophomore.
And a traveling violation. Shavar Newkirk was trying to get a timeout, but it was ruled he took an extra step first.
Well, I think this is one area where Newkirk has struggled. He's caught the ball in the middle of the floor. Generally, that's a pretty good spot, but he's being trapped and he's picking up the basketball.
Brown got a hand on it, but VCU still in control. No Alie-Cox knocked down Miles, and here's DeAndre Bembry on the run out. He's got Brown, and Brown can't get the layup to go, but a foul is going to be whistled against Michael Gilmore. And a 6'10" sophomore from Jacksonville, Florida. 48-40, St. Joseph's in front, and the Hawk is standing guard outside Hagan Arena. Inbound, Bilberry guarding him right along the baseline.
Here we go.
Alie Bembry is now working against Doug Brooks. Brooks off the bench for VCU. And Bembry, step back is good. And it's a 10-point lead for St. Joseph's, their largest of the game.
Well, a mismatch there in the low post. Brooks is only 6'4". Bembry recognizes that and takes advantage with a nice little move in the lane. But Tim, there's a bunch of NBA scouts here. There's Bembry played awfully well this past summer.
A basket made by Ahmed Hamdi.
There's a lot of folks that think Bembry could possibly leave school after this season. I'm sure Phil Martelli would not like to see it, but
probably not.
Bembry is certainly building a resume.
No look pass right into the baseline. A basket by Oliva. He's fouled, and he'll go to the line for a possible three-point play. And boy, have the St. Joseph's Hawks exploded coming out of the locker room.
And watch this pass by Bembry. He sees the court so well. A no-look pass. That's not an easy play. It was all the way across the court. And that's a good finish by Oliva, but a better pass. I can't say enough about Bembry's basketball IQ. He's got 7 assists so far, and he kind of makes the offense work. Even if he doesn't score the basket himself, he makes the basket happen as a result of his court awareness.
Bembry commits the personal foul. Bembry and the St. Joseph's Hawks on an 18-4 run in the second half.
I'm sorry, Tim. Phil Martelli was telling me before the game how the pieces all fit together this season. It didn't really happen last year, and he gives Bembry an awful lot of credit for that. He says he's a great leader in practice and in the locker room.
Miles almost didn't get that one down, but he had a friendly roll from the home rim.
He sure did, and he just, again, beat everybody down the court.
19 points for Miles. He's coming off a 17-point performance with a career-high 16 rebounds against Richmond in his last outing. Now Lewis missed on the three, and a foul underneath on VCU. Oliva will get the rebound, but Miles was undercut. And Ahmed Hamdi picks up his third personal foul. Coming back in, Alie-Cox. Also, Jordan Burgess.
And it just feels to me right now that VCU is a little bit out of sync. St. Joseph's has really taken their swagger away here in the second half. They're playing good defense. They're getting in passing lanes. We saw a couple baskets in transition. But on the offensive end, Isaiah Miles is finding, open spaces to score.
Oliva, bullet pass to the middle. Rebound for VCU, JeQuan Lewis, and a foul is whistle. Eight for 10 for St. Joseph's in the second half. Here comes Papa now back in the ball game. He'll replace Checo Oliva.
And Papa now's in the game to take threes. That's he's kind of the designated three-point shooter for the Hawks.
Foul was on Oliva. That's why he's out. Three ball on the way. Good. Made by JeQuan Lewis. And Lewis with 15 points. Lewis scored a career high against another Philadelphia team, LaSalle, when he poured in 26 last February 11th.
Cox does a great job on this play, reading the double team. He makes the pass all the way across court, and you can see Lewis wide open in the left-hand corner. Give Cox a lot of credit for reading the double team and making the pass.
16 fouls on VCU. The next one puts St. Joseph's in the bonus for the rest of the game.
And you know what St. Joseph's is doing so well is getting the ball over half court before VCU can even set up that press.
There's Bembry. Off balance shot. Missed everything.
That doesn't happen too often, Tim.
Probably not the shot he had in mind. Yeah, step back here by Melvin Johnson. That's all net. Pointer for Johnson. And he's in double figures with 10. He's getting close to passing Bradford Burgess for most three-pointers in VCU history. Burgess at 231. And Johnson just a couple behind him right now. Burgess with out of bounds back to St. Joseph's, went off of Alie-Cox. 12:32 to go, 55-48. And it was VCU with a halftime lead, 38-35. But a big run for the Hawks to start the second half. They've been able to uphold it.
You can see right now St. Joseph's on that first pass is throwing it over the front line of VCU's full court pressure defense, so they're not able to get traps early on the first pass. VCU has not been able to score off their defense here in the second half.
Demery alone inside, good pass. That's 6 points for James Demery.
And the Hawks are able in the half court to get the ball in the center of the floor and attack their defense in the half court.
Oh, Johnson a long three. It's his second one on as many tries. And Melvin Johnson with 13. Makes it a 6-point lead.
Well, he's a guy right now that can score in the half court. Melvin Johnson has really kind of carried the ball here offensively in the second half for VCU.
Melvin Johnson heating up. 57-51. St.
Of the floor and attack their defense in the half court.
Oh, Johnson a long three. It's his second one on as many tries. And Melvin Johnson with 13. Makes it a 6-point lead.
Well, he's a guy right now that can score in the half court. Melvin Johnson has really kind of carried the ball here offensively in the second half for VCU.
Melvin Johnson heating up. So at the line, Shavar Newkirk. 1-1 for Newkirk. He had the game-winning jumper against Old Dominion. Also played a very solid game against Villanova. Played 31 minutes, didn't turn the ball over once. And that's good. 11-0.
Yeah, 9 assists in that Villanova game. I watched the end of the Old Dominion game, and it wasn't a design play for him to have the basketball, but he found himself with it with time running out and very confidently stroked the winning shot.
Johnson on the rebound for VCU. 7-point lead. 11:50 left. Williams with the basketball. Jonathan Williams. Alie-Cox doubled on the post. Williams whips it around to Brooks. Shot clock down to him. Alie-Cox slipped a little bit, and the ball is battled for. That's backcourt. Over and back. Pretty good sell by Corey Bilberry. He didn't give up on it.
That was pretty good defense here by the Hawks. You can see turnovers starting to even itself out right now. I'd like to see Bilberry try to score a little bit more. He's a guy that gets you double digits in the game. He's averaging a little over 12. And at the moment, he only has 4.
Demery, the other thing, needs some help. Hands off to DeAndre Bembry.
A lot of switching on the defensive end in the half court here for VCU. St. Joseph's has been able to get the ball in the lane a couple times to get some easy baskets. Better defensive possession that time by VCU.
Johnson with the miss. Maybe he needs one more to reach a milestone. There's 230 career three-pointers at VCU.
That was a long, quick three by Melvin Johnson. And sometimes I think he expects his teammates to go up and get the rebound. VCU is a pretty good rebounding team, but the Hawks are as well.
Demery. Isaiah Miles.
Now that time, Tim, Alie-Cox was close, but Miles is 6'7". So when he catches the ball and he raises it above his head, he's still hard to guard. I think people forget about his size. You don't often see somebody at his size able to shoot the ball so well.
A foul underneath as Bilberry went up for the shot. Miles on the foul. It's his third. But
Papa now makes the pass. You can see Alie-Cox is right there, contests the shot beautifully. But watch Miles. He gets the ball way over his head. And so at 6'7", he raises it up a couple inches. Again, very difficult to deflect that shot.
Miles comes up with a rebound. 22 points for him. Huge night by Isaiah Miles. Now Demery pushed out of bounds. And a foul on VCU. And that'll be called on Corey Bilberry. That'll be his third. Sean Demery will go to the line to shoot. We talk about the A-10. Where do they stack up this year, John? 3 A-10 teams in the top 35 of the RPI. That's important to note. Ratings percentage index, a very strong indicator of where a team is. And the A-10, one of only 7 conferences with 8 teams with 9 or more wins. The ACC, Big 10, Big 12, CAA, Mountain West Conference, and Pac-12, the other. That's a bucket. 16 now for Johnson.
Melvin Johnson kind of just taking his man one-on-one. Demery's a pretty good on-the-ball defender.
Demery trying to continue. Couldn't get it to roll, but a foul on VCU once more. As Bembry was hit by Melvin Johnson on his way to the basket.
Well, Melvin Johnson's been that bright light, if you will, for VCU here in the second half. He needs a little help, though. St. Joseph's much more balanced scoring.
That is the 9th team foul on VCU, so one more from putting St. Joseph's in the double bonus.
You know, when I watch Bembry, over the years, he just seems a little bit off balance when he's on the foul line. It's amazing to me. He's a good shooter, but he does struggle at the foul line.
Bilberry hands off to Johnson, guarded by Demery.
Kind of a wide open court for Johnson.
Brooks missed the 3, and Bembry the rebound, tapped away by Alie-Cox. But will maintain or remain with St. Joseph's Hawks possession-wise. 61-55, 6-point lead.
And right now VCU is settling for perimeter shots. They're not getting second shots in the second half so far. I think they have only 2 offensive rebounds.
Blocked by Brooks. Bembry there with it. St. Joe's with 10 seconds on the shot clock. Isaiah Miles, another 3. Miles continues to rack up the points. He's got 25.
You know, it kind of amazes me a little bit that you would even leave Miles alone. I'm not saying you play a kind of a box and one on him, but there's no reason to help out on Miles. He shoots the ball too well from the perimeter, and he rebounds the ball too well on the offensive end. So forget about help defense, just focus on defending Miles.
A blind hook pass by Bembry, and Miles finishes it up. 28 points for Isaiah Miles. What a game the senior from Baltimore is having. He is 10 of 12 from the field.
You know, everybody's so focused on DeAndre Bembry. And, you know, when you look at some of the great wins that St. Joseph's has had this year, Virginia Tech being one of them, it's been in part because of Isaiah Miles making shots like you're watching here tonight.
10-point lead for St. Joseph's. Terrific explosion to the hoop by Fresh Kimball. Local product from Philadelphia. That's his first basket. First points of the game. Now Johnson launches, and this is everything. Kimball ahead. Bembry there. And he is fouled by Brooks. Isaiah Miles. Outstanding tonight from long range. And Miles with a game high. Tim Everett. 69-57, a big reason for that. Isaiah Miles, 28 points, and he has been outstanding from three-point range. He's 4 of 6 from out there.
Terrific second half. He's got 18 points in the second half. He's been shooting the ball unbelievably well, and he's a great teammate to DeAndre Bembry. When you think of this combo of now Miles and Bembry, I mean, it's awfully powerful, and I'm not sure there's too many twosomes in the Atlantic 10 right now that can match up with the scoring of these two guys.
Bembry knocks that one down, 70-57. And Miles with 28. If you're wondering, wow, what's he done before? 36 earlier this year, actually not that long ago, right before Christmas against Virginia Tech. 36 on the 22nd of December.
And the other thing he's been doing is he combines it with rebounding the basketball. He's the Hawks' leading rebounder.
Corey Bilberry down to Ahmed Hamdi. Hamdi trying to convert. Long on the possible three-point play. DeAndre Bembry exploding with a basket. And now numbers for VCU. Johnson spinning. The basket will count on the continuation. And a foul on St. Joseph's. It'll be on Lamar Kimball. And now Johnson with a possible three-point play. Not easy being a cameraman either. Heads up.
Great work by our crew taking that charge there by DeAndre Bembry, but great finish on the other end by Melvin Johnson, who's really been kind of the guy that's keeping VCU close enough here in the second half.
Johnson with 21 points. 35 left in this game. Off the hands of Bembry, and he gets to meet our cameraman again on the baseline. So Rich has become acquainted with DeAndre Bembry on a number of occasions tonight.
He's become the target of DeAndre Bembry.
I have to give Rich a helmet. Hamdi well off the mark. Papa now on the rebound. From Dakar in Senegal. Watch out, coach. It was within your range.
Well, Phil Martelli did not want Papa now to bring the ball down the floor. He was trying to get the ball to one of the guards, particularly Fresh Kimball.
"21 seasons roaming the sidelines here." Phil Martelli. When you did it, you started at age 25, right?
Yeah, way back at Siena. Phil and I worked together for 5 years. Phil was an assistant for both Jim Boyle and myself, and has been the head coach now in his 21st season.
Miles on the rebound. That'll make you feel good to see one of your assistants doing so well. Here is Miles again with the basketball. Ducks under a defender. Long two is good. 30 points. He's bearing down on that career high. He is 8 for 8 from the field in the second half.
Well, it's just amazing. You can kind of sense what the fans expect when he touches the ball. They think it's gone in the basket.
JeQuan Lewis intercepting that pass. And here's Johnson. His ball picked up by Brooks. Back to Johnson. He'll try a three. Got it! And for Johnson, that's another three. He's got 24. He has 5 three-pointers in this game.
And he's shooting from distance. I cannot be the only guy that's responsible for scoring here in the last 5 minutes.
Well, you start thinking about it at this point in the game with, as you say, 5 minutes to play. St. Joseph's 11-2. They've won 7 straight. The last time they won 8 straight was the 2006 season. And their only losses this year to Villanova and Florida. Oh, wide open for the tomahawk jam. DeAndre Bembry, 16 points.
And the other thing the Hawks have done, Tim, is they've won close games. You know, when they've had an opportunity in a close game like Temple in overtime, they've closed the door. Old Dominion, we talked about that. Columbia was another game.
Johnson was trying for his 6th three-pointer. He had a hand in his face when he made the shot, however.
The Hawks have won 5 games decided by 4 points or less.
6-1 on their home floor. Their only loss was to the 8th ranked Villanova Wildcats. Johnson to Brooks. As we move under the 4-minute mark remaining in the game. Brooks off the glass and good. Doug Brooks, 5 points off the bench for VCU.
VCU has to get a couple turnovers here in this pressure defense. They need a couple extra possessions.
Lob inside and Miles held up. Burgess was not going to give up the easy basket. Timeout on the floor. Deontay Bembry with an exclamation point on this second half. 74-67. St. Joseph's. He has tied a career high with 11 field goals made in a game. He's 11 of 13 from the field, 8 for 8 in the second half. And he goes to the line to try to add to his overall point total of 30.
He's a 91% foul shooter, too. One of the best in the country. Number 1 right now in the Atlantic 10.
He'll have a chance to redeem himself here. I guess when you have 30 points and you're having the kind of night that he's having, Phil Martelli might forgive a missed free throw.
And he's played 34 minutes, so he's hardly been on the sidelines. So it's too early probably in the season to vote for most improved player in the Atlantic 10 Conference, but anybody watching this game, and certainly the media that are here, is going to give strong consideration to Isaiah Miles.
5-point ball game now as Doug Brooks hits a 3. Brooks now with 8 points. And a foul right out in the middle of the floor. Brooks tangled up with Shavar Newkirk, and that is the 5th foul on Doug Brooks. So he is fouled out. Coming up next for the Hawks of St. Joe's, noon on Sunday, they'll take on another team full of Rams, the Rhode Island Rams. Then they're at George Mason. Fordham comes here to the Hagen Arena. They go to Penn and LaSalle.
So I think it's a pretty favorable schedule. Rhode Island's a bit injured. They're not the team everybody expected coming into this season. George Mason certainly rebuilding, and so is Fordham. Penn is a Big 5 game, and LaSalle is struggling right now. So a favorable schedule right now for the Hawks.
Kirk misses. Well, Brooks finished for the game. Ends with 8 points. So 1 for 2. The other thing, if you've got this 5-point lead, 6 points now, you can't afford to miss those free throws and allow VCU to get back in with a couple of long balls. Alie-Cox, good hook shot. A 4-point game.
That was one of the few times Alie-Cox was not double teamed in the low post. Difficult assignment for Isaiah Miles. He's giving up a lot of kind of girth there in the low post.
Bembry sheds one defender. Miles, 16-footer in and out. Follows a shot, gets the rebound, and manages somehow to get it to Demry. And now Alie-Cox picks up the blocking foul.
A couple good opportunities for VCU on that last possession. Just not able to come up with the basketball. It's still only a 4-point game, 2 possessions, but that was a key possession on the defensive end for VCU.
St. Joseph's 4 for their last 11 at the free throw line. 5 for the last 12, and now they're 16 for 26 tonight. 5-point lead, 2:22 to go. James Demery from Williamston, North Carolina. So each of the last 3 Hawks that have been to the free throw line have gone 1 for 2. Alie-Cox doesn't get the roll, but he does pick up the personal foul. And it'll be Isaiah Miles, his 4th.
I think they're going to keep going into the low post and getting the ball to Alie-Cox.
A correction on the foul. It is not Miles. He'll have 3 still. It is on Aaron Brown. Brown's got 2.
Alie-Cox is a 73% foul shooter. Preseason 3rd team All-Atlantic 10. Full court pressure now. There's a man on the ball. VCU changes its full court pressure. Sometimes there's someone playing the ball. Sometimes they're off the basketball. Sometimes they trap the first pass. Sometimes they don't.
Across the half court stripe with Burgess guarding it. 2 minutes to go. It is a 1-possession game. Force the shot. Johnson the rebound. VCU ahead to Alie-Cox. And he will score. A chance to tie from the line. A foul on Demery.
An amazing turnaround here for VCU. They've certainly kept their head in the game here. Nice pass to advance the ball to Alie-Cox, and he's just so strong when he gets the ball in the low post. A very experienced player, the redshirt junior, has played a ton of minutes throughout his career in a lot of big games.
Big rebound by Burgess. Johnson delivers outside to JeQuan Lewis. Here is Alie-Cox to give VCU the lead.
Lewis-Cox combo was so effective in the first half.
Demery to the basket, and he is fouled. Burgess involved in it in the bottom of the pile. St. Joseph's is led by as many as 13 this half, now down by 1.
Great ball screen, a pick and roll. No one's going to stop Alie-Cox when he's going to the basket. And you can see there was no St. Joe's help defense there. But the 2-man play worked so effectively for VCU in the first half. Great decision on the part of Will Wade to go back to it here late in the game.
Alie-Cox has the last 8 straight points for VCU. Single-handedly getting him back into it. Demery misses what would have been the tying free throw and have another opportunity.
You know, as a coach, you know, your team goes to the foul line. There's nothing you can do about it. You expect your team to be able to make those shots. So if the game's close or the game's going to be decided on the foul line, I mean, that's not in the coach's control.
Demery is 4 for 9 from the free throw line tonight. The game is tied at 78. Phil Martelli wants a timeout to talk this one over. Both teams in the bonus, with St. Joseph's in the double bonus, and 1:24 to go in a tie game.
With 5 minutes to go, you know, I'd like to say in situations like this, the better foul shooting team has an advantage. But coming into this last minute 23, VCU's only shooting 61% and St. Joseph's 57% from the foul line.
Alie-Cox, hook shot, good. He is nearly unstoppable in that part of the paint, and he has the last 10 points for VCU.
Yeah, right now VCU is just spreading the court and throwing it into the low post. Isaiah Miles is playing from behind, and he really can't defend Alie-Cox when he catches the ball that close to the basket.
Under a minute to go now. DeAndre Bembry, left hand, went up over Alie-Cox that time, but couldn't get it to roll. And a very key possession here for the Rams of VCU.
Well, don't be surprised if they go back into the low post again. No reason to take a perimeter shot or a pick and roll maybe.
St. Joseph's has been on a field goal drought. That's part of the issue here late. They haven't had one in over 4 minutes. And that's a basket made by JeQuan Lewis and a 4-point VCU lead. And that's a quick two the other way for James Demery. And Phil Martelli's got to use a timeout. A 2-point game, 18.5 seconds left.
Good offensive sequence there by VCU. They've been very effective scoring.
That bucket. Well, the ball game in the balance here with 18.5 seconds left. 82-80, each team with a timeout. And the possession arrow favoring VCU.
Well, St. Joseph's goes into this full court pressure. If they don't get a steal quickly, they're going to have to foul.
Bilberry putting it in play for the Rams, and it's knocked out of bounds. Looked like Bembry got a hand on it. And the ball belonged to the Rams with 18 seconds left.
I always thought a team that presses should be pretty good at inbounding the ball versus pressure.
That's the foul right there, and they do, and that'll send JeQuan Lewis down to the other end of the court. So Aaron Brown will commit the foul. Third foul on Brown.
VCU is a 68% foul shooting team. JeQuan Lewis is 81% from the foul line.
A little bit of insurance. You look for a lot of insurance with this shot.
Yeah, this is the all-important one, making it a two-possession game. A lot of poise here in the last 5 minutes by VCU.
81% free throw shooters. Percentage just went up. 4-point VCU lead. Here's Bembry. Demery ducks under a defender. He goes to the rack and scores on a quick timeout. That's the last one for St. Joseph's. 2-point game and 10+ seconds remain.
Well, good foul shooting there by JeQuan Lewis, and good offense there by St. Joseph's to score quickly. You got a good sense of the athleticism of the sophomore James Demery, NBA Hall of Famer.
Oh, Alie-Cox. Big game, big second half for the big man in the middle for the Rams.
Well, Corey Bilberry is going to inbound the ball. I think he's the most important guy on the floor right now for VCU.
Johnson trying to avoid being fouled, and finally Bembry gets it. Stopping the clock with 6 and 6/10 seconds left.
I think VCU got the ball in the hands of the right guy. Melvin Johnson, a senior from St. Benedict's Prep. 90% foul shooter.
Three-point lead, still a one-possession game. Papa now coming back in for St. Joseph. Aaron Brown will have a seat. Again, another opportunity for Johnson. He missed it, so a three would tie it. Bembry lets one go from long range and missed. DeAndre Bembry came up just short of tying this game, and VCU comes into Philadelphia and takes away an A-10 victory over the St. Joseph's Hawks.
I'll give VCU a lot of credit. They hung in there in the last 5 minutes. They played with a lot of poise. Melvin Johnson led the way with 24. He could not offset the great play of Isaiah Miles, who finished with 31 points. Isaiah Miles had 21 in the second half.
So, a very, very big night for a certain number of players here. Again, you mentioned Isaiah Miles, a huge game, but boy, Alie-Cox for one stretch in the second half was the toughest guy to stop for St. Joseph.
Yeah, he got his position in the low post. He scored all those points in the paint, put a lot of pressure on St. Joseph's defense, and the Hawks really didn't have an answer on the defensive end.
25 points for Melvin Johnson, 5-3.